Friday night football, not something you're going to hear a lot, but we got it here tonight, guys. Football returned last night. Got off to a pretty good start overall with the plays, providing profitable plays if you're just tuning into the channel, guys. Play of the day yesterday was this Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley over 1.5 rushing and receiving touchdowns. I was able to detect that very quickly and send it over to my premium content members, and I did leak it on my X on my Twitter for free. So if you haven't followed me over there, follow me over there. It was a prop that popped up on the board after I released my free video. Stood out in a major way. Some really, really good value. We'll talk about exactly what good value is on this channel, but I mean, we had a 54.34% chance to hit on that prop using the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer, a tool I'll be talking about throughout this content. Immediately sent it out to my members. It cashed easily. I mean, Hurts got in twice. Saquon got in once. The amount of value on that play was just absolutely insane. And we're going to be looking to find more good value on this Friday night slate. I'll have 3 profitable plays. I do have these locked into a 3-pick power entry on Prizepicks, so you'll be paying minus 122 if you do not know what that means. I'll be helping you, teaching you. You'll know more than 99% of people that play on Prizepicks if you tune into this content about how to actually profit. And you'll want to take advantage of the Prizepicks sign-up bonus. They'll give you $50 instantly when you play your first $5 with the promo code KJKDFS. I'll have my links down below, guys, pinned as the top comment and in the description of the video to make it nice and easy on you. But there'll be a bunch of different money sign-up bonuses to start things off for the NFL season. And I do have my own. You can get 25% off the KJK premium packages. It's the same exact Discord that I'm pulling up here on the screen, where I break down all the odds. I teach you how to profit long-term. I send in those play of the days. I send in those immediate value alerts. So you can find the very best plays, because I will be breaking down the process on this free content. I will be giving you, an actual play that we're playing. But the problem is when you're getting profitable plays, when you're getting plays with a good price, they're going to change them very quickly, right? So I talked about that on this thing that I tweeted out yesterday, on this tweet, this X, whatever you call it these days. This prop came up on the board, and then they took it down. They took it off the board because it was too good of a prop. So when you're getting profitable plays, when you actually know what you're doing, the plays change very quickly, right? So the same thing happened in this past video that I gave out with the 3 greened out plays. I come on the channel, I break it down for free. I break down the process. I'm going to talk about the softwares I use, all the different player props apps, and help you win money on these apps throughout the season. All right, guys? So the only other thing I'll mention is there's a bunch of more sign-up bonuses, right? So you got Prizepicks. You can also look up Betr. They'll give you a sweet match all the way up to $200 now over on Betr if you have not taken advantage of that offer. And then also check out Underdog Fantasy. They'll give you all the way up to $1,000. So if you have these 3 apps, you're going to get a lot of free money. You can take these plays, profit money throughout the season, take advantage of all the free money they're giving you to start NFL. They want as many people on their apps, so they're giving away a ton of free money. So it's kind of silly to not take advantage of those sign-up offers. So let's talk about it. Once again, I got 3 plays for you tonight in this Kansas City Chiefs Los Angeles Chargers game. I have 2 on the Chargers side and 1 on the Chiefs side. So we'll start with the Chargers first. We'll get the 2 that I have there, and then we'll switch over to the Chiefs. All right, so Chargers side, got 2 props once again. We'll start with talking about Mr. Quentin Johnston, and we'll pull him up on the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer, because you're going to see very quickly we got a pretty big discrepancy here. Now, once again, if this changes after I record this video, that sucks, and I have a feeling it's going to, but I can't control that, and I do want to teach you guys how to profit on these apps. So once again, if you sign up for my premium Discord, you can get these sent to you right away, so you can get them before the plays go up. But also, if you do want to use the same tools that I'm using, I have discounts linked down below, right? So Daily Grind will give you 25% off with my link down below. We have multi-million-dollar sportsbook data pulled into an optimizer here, guys. Every single day, all of these sportsbooks, all of these multi-million-dollar companies are going to set lines for all of these players. They're going to set prices on the overs, the unders, all of the above. We can use this tool to use the multi-million-dollar sportsbook data to profit on these apps. So when I talk about these prices, right, that you're getting on each prop that you lock into a particular ticket type, this is what I'm talking about. This is what goes into the back end of Prizepicks. This is what 99% of people that are logging onto the Prizepicks app don't understand. A lot of people think that you have a 50-50 chance to hit on props, right? You take the over, you take the under, you got a 50-50 chance. That's not true. Smart people, people that know what they're doing, know there are props with an edge, right? So I talked about that on this tweet I sent out yesterday. I talked about it on my play of the day. This is what I'm looking for every single day. This prop had a massive 54.34% edge. So that's a really big edge in this game that we play. If you're someone that's, listening to people that are making content and they're saying, this is a lock this in, this has a 100% chance to hit, I'm here to tell you that's not true. The fact that we got a 54% edge, and I was very excited about that, and we had a higher chance to win by a 4% edge is very significant, and that's the reality of this game. So Quentin Johnston, we have a 2.16% edge on this number at the 22.5 receiving yards. Now, this is a little bit different because we have a discrepancy in the lines here. So what do I mean by that? The prices are all right around 113, 112, 111, etc. And we're having to pay 122. So typically on this channel, I'm looking for props that, DraftKings, FanDuel, these multi-million-dollar sportsbooks companies are charging, like minus 150, and we're getting minus 122. That's a steal if you've been listening to the content. In this case, you might be looking at the screen and going like, these are like 111, 113. Why wouldn't you just take them there? Well, you got to factor in the number too. So he's at 112, but he's all the way up to 25.5, 27.5, 24.5, 22.5, 26. You can see across the entire market, a lot of these places are listing him up, an entire 2, 3, 4 higher yards. That's where this edge is coming in, right? That's where this edge is coming in. And then if we want to get even more detail oriented, another tool that I'm using, another software, once again, that'll hook you up with a sweet deal is OddsJam. And OddsJam is the same concept, right? It's the multi-million-dollar sportsbook data. They have multiple tools. I have the sportsbook screen pulled in here. So what this tool is going to do is it's going to pull in every single place that has this line listed. So every place that's listing Quentin Johnston's receiving yards prop tonight, right? That's what this data is. And you're going to see, I have 292 multi-million-dollar sports books pulled in. Average odds across the market, he's listed up with all of these data points, right? He's listed up at 24.8, and he's still favored on the over at minus 117. So keep in mind, they're essentially saying that if you were to take him at 24.8, which obviously isn't possible, it's going to be 0.5. All these lines are set at 0.5, but this is just the average math. You're still going to have to risk 117.1 to take the over. We're getting 22.5. We're getting an entire 2 yards discount, and we're only paying, minus 122 with the discount included. Essentially, we should be paying, around the minus 120, even if he was up at 24.8. So hopefully that makes sense. Like, we're getting a discount on the yards pretty significantly, and then it's pretty much around the same price, even if we were to get it up at that number. And we have some very sharp books. Pinnacle, very good at what they do, has them up at 25.5 with minus 112 on both sides. That's an entire 3 yards higher. We have Circa listing him at 26 with even money minus 110 on both the over and the under. So they're essentially saying, this guy's going to end with 26 yards exactly. And Circa is a sportsbook that's taking a lot of action from, big time sports bettors, millions and millions of dollars. FanDuel, DraftKings, same thing. If you've watched sports, you've definitely seen a FanDuel or DraftKings commercial. 27.5 and 24.5. Once again, it's at minus 113 on both sides of the prop, all the way up at 27.5 on FanDuel. That's a huge difference. So the 22.5 is a really big discount. Hopefully that makes sense. We're getting a steal on the number that we're getting at the 22.5. I do worry when you get these kind of props that the line's going to change as the day goes on. So I'm sorry for you guys watching the free content. There's a possibility, unfortunately, that Quentin Johnston's receiving yards prop is not going to be at this beautiful 22.5 number when you get around to watching this content. Make sure that you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you see these videos as soon as they go up. So in the future you can get notified as soon as I release this video. And lock in the props, right? So the 22.5 number, he's gone over in 3 of the last 5 on these charts. These charts really mean nothing to me, guys. Every matchup's different. If we're looking to get even more detail-oriented on matchup, I get asked all the time, because I talk a lot about market data. People are like, what kind of actual research do you want to do? If you're someone that likes more of the statistics, Outlier is the software I would recommend. They'll give you 7 days completely free with my link down below, so it's kind of silly not to take advantage of the 7-day free offer. And you can type in Quentin Johnston, and we can look at every single one of his props here under the sun. I have his receiving yard selected now. That's what we want. You can see the over 24.5 is what I have selected as an alt line at the, the 22, etc. that we're getting. Once again, guys, they have all the odds, all the places you could be taking this. If we go ahead and select that 22.5 line, they're going to pull in, any place that's listing it. Once again, not not all books are listing him at that number. He's all the way up to 25, 35. 30.5 is where he opened. And the live movement has him down, right around 24.5 now. But it's really insane just the amount of difference you can get when you're price shopping. And then they'll give you all the data as far as receiving yards allowed. They're giving up 233.5 receiving yards per game are the Kansas City defense, and they're giving up 138.8 yards per game to opposing wide receivers. This is all factored into the price and stuff, guys. Like I say, I want to be looking at these alt lines. I want to be looking at all these different places that this prop is listed, and I want to be getting the best possible line we can be getting, which we already talked about. We are getting with the 22.5 line. So that's a crazy good prop here for play number one. Once again, we're taking it at 3-pick power, and our second prop, we will be discussing, a very similar concept here with the tight end on the LA Chargers in Tyler Conklin, new tight end. So once again, we'll pull up the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer. We'll see. We're getting a very, very good line on Tyler Conklin's receiving yards prop tonight on Prizepicks. It's pretty crazy. We're getting 15.5. FanDuel has him at 17.5. DraftKings has him all the way up to 19.5, 17.5, 17.5, 17.5, 17.5, 15.5. Aggressively favored on the over at minus 146. So if you were to log on to HotStreak, another DFS platform, you can get the 15.5 line, but to take the over, you're going to have to risk $146 when 100. Keep in mind, we're getting minus 122. So that's like crazy. We're getting the same exact, we need the same exact thing to happen. I talk about this all the time. We need the same exact thing to happen. It's just long-term. You can't get ripped off on price, or you're going to have a really hard time profiting because there's going to be things that happen that are out of your control. Tyler Conklin could go out there and get a concussion. The first time he goes to catch a ball, it's thrown across the middle. He catches it for 15 yards and gets knocked out. And then he's out of the game the rest of the game, and he's stuck at 15 yards. You can't predict that stuff. But you can make sure you're getting the very best price, getting props with an edge. Once again, we have a 2.37% edge on the over. We have a 2.37% higher chance of winning. And we're getting a very large discrepancy. We can't get 15.5 at this minus 122 price tag. We're getting minus 146 if we were to go on to another DFS platform, such as a HotStreak. And we can just, once again, pull up the OddsJam Sportsbook screen. Like, if you're someone, for me, I'm charging people monthly. I talk about this. People are paying me to find the very, very best props. All right, these, my premium Discord, what I'm talking about at the beginning, you're paying to get instant notifications of profitable plays that are actually winning. So when I'm finding these plays, like, I got to take this serious. Like, there are people that are investing their time, their money in me to help them win on these apps. That's what this is all about. I teach you how to actually profit. I teach you how to get a good deal. I'm going to talk about the different promo codes and stuff to give you free money. There's so many different ways to take advantage on these apps. Getting good plays, getting promos, getting money discounts, all that fun stuff that these apps can provide to help you rack up your money. We need to be taking advantage of, right? So Tyler Conklin, once again, average odds across the entire market, he's at 17.2. We're getting 15.5. You can see he's up to 16.5 on Betr, 17.5, 19.5 on DraftKings. Once again, DraftKings is very good at what they do. Like, this is crazy significant that he's listed all the way up at 19.5 on DraftKings. Like, that's wild. The difference you're getting in yardage. You got to keep in mind these millions that are dumped into these lines. They're very precise. Sleeper, another DFS app, right? They have him all the way up at 16.5, an entire yard higher, and they're charging minus 141 to take the over. So another example of, not only is the line higher, we're getting 15.5, we're getting minus 122. They've got them up at 16.5, and they're charging you minus 141. Once again, you have to risk $141 to 100. They're saying it's so likely he goes over the prop, we're going to make you risk way more. We can get minus 122. It's an absolute steal. So we have all of this data telling us that, we're getting a really, really good deal. We're getting a massive discount, not only on the number, but the price as well. It's a double whammy. It's a really good prop. We want to be taking advantage of Tyler Conklin here tonight. Once again, he is at the 15.5 line at the time of recording. So I have a feeling Prizepicks is very good at what they do. I have a feeling these lines are going to change eventually. So, I'm sorry if they do. You can see it's nice and greened out here on the chart. Once again, he's on a new team, new role. These last 5 charts mean nothing to me, but hey, sure, if he wants to keep greening out, that's not going to hurt our feelings because we need him to go over here tonight. And then the third and final prop, this is where things do get a little bit different because I will be talking about a fantasy score. I will be talking about Xavier Worthy. Prizepicks, if you're someone that plays fantasy football, you know what PPR scoring is, point per reception fantasy scoring. That's what Prizepicks does have for their fantasy scoring format. Since they're a daily fantasy sports app, not only do they charge these lines, not only do they have these lines that sports books feature, but they also do have fantasy scores. They do have Xavier Worthy listed at 14.5 here tonight, and I do have him projected to go over by this by a couple points, which is a pretty big deal. Once again, Prizepicks very good at what they do, right? These lines are going to be right on point a lot of times. So I talk about the 2% edge, the 4% edge, etc. with these tools. What I'm using for fantasy score props is I am using projection models. And I do have Xavier Worthy projected for 16.49 fantasy points tonight, which once again, it's only 2 fantasy points, but in this world of, Prizepicks is a big company, man. They got a lot of research going into setting these lines appropriately. Once again, keep in mind they are a PPR format. So the more receptions you get, the more fantasy points you get. That makes wide receivers, running backs that catch you a lot of passes very valuable. Every reception is 1 point. Every receiving touchdown is 6 points. Every rushing yard, 0.1. Receiving yard, 0.1. Xavier Worthy is a guy that they do utilize in the run game as well, do the Kansas City Chiefs. So, if they want to get down around the goal line and do one of those sweep plays where Mahomes hands it back to him and he runs it in, that's 6 points for us. That would not hurt our feelings. But that's all factored into my projection, right? And I will say, once again, I've got him projected for 16.49. So that's the edge here tonight. That's an entire 2 fantasy points higher. That's a very big deal. So I know that sounds crazy as someone that's learning about this stuff. Once again, I think a lot of people sell this dream like I got the locks. I'm teaching you the reality of how to find actual edges on these props. You're going to be getting 2, 3, 4, 5% edges, and you're going to be putting them in ticket types where you're getting a good price. Once again, a 3-pick power, minus 122 per entry, per prop that you're locking in. So I'm talking about this all the time. Once again, I sent this out for free on my X. If you haven't followed me over there, it's KJK_DFS. I have all my stuff linked below, all my graphics at the bottom. Follow me over there. I try to give out more free value over there. But it's the same concept, right? Like a 4.34% edge last night on this prop was a perfect example. I saw this and I'm like, yep, we got to get that locked in as soon as possible. That's the same thing with these props here today, right? So we got 3 props with some really good edge. They are props that I did provide over in my premium Discord. So I'm giving a lot of free value out to start the year. I will remind you guys, you can get 20% off these packages, right? You can get access to all my plays as soon as I place them. We got the 22.5 receiving yards for Quentin Johnson, the 15.5 receiving yards for Tyler Conklin, the 14.5 fantasy score for Xavier Worthy over in the VIP. And I will remind you, you can get 25% off with the code NFL25, but I do have it launched on my Patreon page, so you can just go to my Patreon. My premium packages link below. It should auto-apply the discount to make it nice and easy on you. But the code NFL25 will give you 25% off on all packages through Monday Night Football at 11:59 p.m. on Monday. This sale is done. So take advantage while you can. Once again, why do you need the premium? KJK, you give us free plays here. Well, 1, there's going to be new profitable plays popping up every 2 seconds. 2, the profitable plays do not last long. 3, if you're someone that's winning money off my free content, it is the best possible way you can support me. Using my links down below for my softwares, I get a commission on that. Using my promo codes, using my premium packages are all ways of giving back. If I do win you money, I'm not asking for any handouts, but if I do help you win some money, you can win some more money with me, and then you can support me as a creator. I do greatly appreciate that. Thank you to everyone that does support with the like button. the subscribing, all of the above. Those are going to be our 3 picks here tonight. For this Friday night football action, Prizepicks $50 instantly when you play your first $5. And let's see if they changed any of these props. It does not look like they did so far, so you can get all 3 still at the time of recording at the same number that I got over in the premium Discord. And once again, 20% off. So would love to have you sign up. Thank you for tuning in. Wishing you all the best of luck on your NFL player props tonight, and we will see you in the next one.